magical dreamland, all your wishes come true. Gravity, what is this? Oh, it's instant gravity on contact. I have no idea. So now we're physically upside down, enough for the camera to do a 180 rotation. Alrighty. And this is about the 8th time we've entered the fade within the series. This is the first time it's done physically, and it's referred to as the raw fade. Now, if there's one time to enter the fade, it's an Inquisition. After all, you have Mark here, whose very purpose was for Corey to re-enter the fade, but the problem is the fade is a magical dream world. Anything could happen here. The setting is completely alien. Being a sort of quasi-dream world, up can literally become down. So exposition about the setting and environment is, well, kind of pointless, as we will soon see. So we're not going to learn too much about anything really relevant here or derive any concrete meaning, because it's all tipsy-turvy. So the main value you can get from all of this has to be through the characters. That is, their reaction to the setting. So we need to either A, expose the protagonist and their plight, background, personality, whichever. This could be insight into what makes them special, their lost memory, the mark, their desires, doesn't matter. B, expose the antagonist and their goals, because that's a good time to do so in a magical fantasy land. And C, create a plot point that invents a new conflict or reestablishes one vis-a-vis the character's desires and goals. So something like this has to happen. Now, unless the rules of this dreamland become concrete in some way, it's impossible to derive some sort of meaning. It's all fake. At best, this becomes a profound vehicle for theme and character development, and at worst, it's a contrived farce. Considering the attack on Adamant, our entry into the fortress, and now our entry into this place were all contrived, and outside of the protagonist's agency or intention, well, things aren't really looking that good.
The Fade looked much different the last time I was here. Perhaps it's because we're here, physically, instead of just dreaming. The stories say you walked out of the Fade at Haven. Was it like this?
Let's not forget that Hawke previously entered the Fade in the Night Terror's quest in Dragon Age 2, and if he was a mage, when speaking to Ariani, he makes mention that they previously braved the Fade. However, this is a different entry into the Fade as we're physically here. We also just came from falling from a rather oddly shaped castle roof scene collapse thing. I don't know. Additionally, the screen that we normally would see with the Fade does not have a fuzzy overlay, so we can chalk this up to Hawke being rather disoriented, and I can totally buy that.
I don't remember what it was like the last time I was here. Right now, I'm more concerned with getting out safely.
That huge demon was right on the other side of that rift Eramond was using. And there could be others.
I'm assuming he's referring to the Pride Demon, the third one we had to fight, because no one can make sense of that green glowing light all the mages were dancing and chanting over.
Shitballs, fuck, shit, crap, fade, shit, ass, demons, crap!
Wow, that's a wonderful contribution to the conversation there, Sarah. You'd think a character as wild and nuts as Sarah would like this place, but she's just scared.
In our world, the rift the demons came through was nearby, in the main hall. Can we escape the same way?
Okay, 1, the mages were outside in the main courtyard doing some weird ritual. 2, we're in the Fade. We have no sense of direction or setting. How could we possibly know where any connection between both worlds are, let alone this having to do with another Fade rift geographically close to where we came from? We may have actually used that rift in the courtyard or whatever that was. And 3, and most importantly, this is an error in writing. How the devil do you know there was a Fade rift in the Great Hall of Adamant, a fortress you were never in? You scouted out Adamant with Hawke, but you never went inside. If you did, we'd be pumping you for information on the place to make our attack more effective. If the wardens ever saw you in there, you'd have been imprisoned or executed because you had said so yourself, that your own comrades turned against you when you argued with Chlorel, and then you fled. This is all before you even were aware there were wardens in Adamant Fortress. Neither Hawke nor our advisors ever mentioned anyone entering the place. When we entered the fortress, you were guarding our back. You only entered at the main bailey, when those wardens gave us the option to show them mercy, and you stayed there. We never came across the main hall, but the place we fought the Pride Demon was called the main courtyard, which you did enter. So is that what you mean, the main courtyard? And even if he did say the main courtyard, and he used the plural word demons, which implies more than one, came through. So when did this happen? We only saw one come through, which was the Pride Demon, which they were summoning other demons beforehand? I guess that's kind of a fair deduction, but why would they do that? Why do they need a Fade Rift to do that? They didn't do it before when we were attacking, or rather when they were sacrificing wardens and demons that just popped out of nowhere, out of that Tevinter temple. Now, if they didn't do that, the next question becomes, why did we then fight Aramond at that Tevinter temple, a few hundred meters away from Adamant, where he was summoning demons with no problem? He didn't need a Fade Rift. Why did he go down there then? Why didn't he just stay within Adamant Fortress to do so? If he needed to go to another location to summon demons, then why did this all happen?
Let's find out. There, let's go.
A green swirling vortex in the dream sky. Okay, why not? Down is up, gravity is touch responsive. Sure, let's do that. Makes perfect sense.
Imagine it. To walk in the Fade and survive.
We haven't survived yet.
And there's apparently breathable air in here. Down is up. Oxygen is apparently apparent. Yay. Now, this sort of makes sense, as these two worlds are torn together by Fade Rifts, and it is part of the setting, so I can get behind that. But, of course, I can also buy it if a floating head of gator popped out of nowhere and decided to sing Christmas carols while smoking on some white hashish. It probably wouldn't matter either way. Oh yeah, words always get caught in the bloody ripples of ancient water in the Fade, especially when you can read them on a statue that looks like it's made of rock, but only when it's raining Lelianas on Wednesdays, and only in ancient water. This makes us question how the GUI text box can even represent this information appropriately. Ah, the dreamland. So we end up meeting up with Divine Justinia, who is an old woman with a rather middle-aged woman's voice, who tells us the demon that serves Corey is a nightmare that lives off fear, and that he has stolen our memory of what happened at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. It is also the cause of the Warden's premature calling. This is rather interesting, as it means our enemy can take away our fear to a degree. That is, we're no longer as fearful as we might have been of Corey and his forces, which gives us a false sense of security. This would have been a wonderful insight into everyone's psyche. That is, their innermost thoughts, desires, and fears. The real things that worry them. We'd all be connected by this odd sense of being uninhibited by danger or not caring about anything, which may get some of us killed. Of course, that's not an ongoing theme, but it certainly was an option. This is similar to the way the characters in, let's say, Planescape Torment were bound together by pain and torment, or those in Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 were bound by a mysterious connection to a hole in the Force. Whereas they felt a negative feeling, the removal of fear in this context would simply be a neutral feeling of sameness, of routine, of complacency, which I did indeed feel while playing Dragon Age Inquisition. A whole lot of choices that don't really matter much, or a complete lack of drama in some cases. The protagonist could have been the character most affected by it to the point of losing memories, and he's of course the most brave because he has no fear, as the fear nightmare could have taken away most of it. He'd be the perfect person to be a leader. They'd be kind of robotic-like, being extremely efficient and taking lots of risks, similar to the persona of the protagonist of Persona 3, who starts off as having almost no regard for his life, but ends up caring for his friends, ultimately sacrificing himself, but not out of some existential empty meaninglessness, and instead full of concern for the friends he's made many connections with. I would simply like to note that the capacity for depth and drama throughout this fantastical setting was there in Dragon Age Inquisition, even though it's not.
When you entered the Fade at Heaven, the demon took a part of you. Before you do anything else, you must recover it.
Okay, so we have to piece together our memory by, I don't know, but before that we need to fight more humanoid Slimers. And all the memories are random sound clips, until we get a flashback of Justinia and Corey at the temple? And then you just randomly walk in, and then this allows Justinia to knock the orb out of Corey's hands, which rolls toward you, and you instinctively pick it up, and then there's this bright white light. I don't know, if that was the explosion, I think everyone would have died, but okay, fine, cool.
So, your mark did not come from Andraste. It came from the orb Corypheus used in his ritual.
Oh, so everyone saw the vision. How? Why? Oh, right, yeah. Magical dreamland.
Corypheus intended to rip open the veil, use the anchor to enter the Fade, and throw open the doors of the Black City. Not for the old gods, but for himself.
But what does that have to do with being a god? I mean, we know he wants to be a god, or the god, or to being a troll of Thetis, but opening up the doors to the Black City would do what? Did he simply not like the countryside and needed it filled with Soylent Red? So now there are more memories we just have to get from the Nightmare Demon, and if we don't, we can't leave. I don't know why. Oh, magical dreamland, magical dreamland. Okay, so a booming voice who we assume is the nightmare starts talking to us. He taunts us and all of our companions, apparently based on their fears.
Did you think you mattered, Hawke? Did you think anything you ever did mattered? You couldn't even save your city. How could you expect to strike down a god? Meryl is going to die, just like your family, and everyone you ever cared about.
Of course, a fear demon would know where to hurt us most.
Why, yes, nightmare demon thing. Dragon Age 2 was irrelevant. I'm glad the innermost fear of Hawke's psyche is aware of that. Also, I think this is one of the only two mentions within Dragon Age Inquisition that Hawke's romantic interest is even mentioned.
We must ignore. Those must have been smaller fears, servants of the nightmare. And they take the form of spiders, something so many fear.
Didn't see no spiders. I'd have taken bloody spiders.
The demons look different to all of us. They take on the appearance of something we fear.
So, it's in my head. Knowing is not helping.
Interesting how both Hawke and ours, that is, our fear of enemies, are both shaped like spiders. A bit of a nod to the audience, as both characters are protagonists of their own games, which we both played. So, we listen to some more audio clips and get another flashback. We find out Justinia is just a spirit memory something, I don't know, who cares. And then Hawke and Warden guy started getting pissy about the wardens who caused all this because they were being controlled by Corey to capture Justinia, and that we just escaped a whole bunch of them, even though quite a few seemed really sympathetic to our arguing. So I'm not sure what the big deal is here. Anyway, who cares? We're in magical dreamland. And ultimately, it doesn't matter what you choose here just because you suddenly get attacked by spiders. So, hey, thanks game for that stellar choice.
Inquisitor.
The nightmare has found us.
Form up! I'm with you.
Oh, great. Thanks for the completely meaningless conflict and its empty choice resolution. Great storytelling. So we might, fight some more spiders. Oh, wow. Soylent Red poetry. Well, that's not annoying at all.
An army you fear, I command it. They are bound all through me.
Ah, so if we banish you, we banish the demons. Thank you. Every fear come to life.
Erg? Are you alright? I mean, do arguments hurt you? This is the Fate. It's a magical dreamland where anything could happen. Do you just get caught up in logical fallacies of your own and then you just suddenly cease to be? If only magical dreamland can give us the logic bomb solution.
Look!
Yes. Thank you, Blackwall. That was very informative. So we finally get to the Nightmare's lair, and you fight his aspect. And Hawke and the Warden guy are standing around like someone's taking turns punching them in either direction. The Nightmare starts taunting in, that traditional bad guy sentences. Then the fight seems to be over, and we just have a cutscene where we're running away. And for some reason, one of these idiots wants to make a heroic sacrifice. I don't know why, and I don't even know how. How is a giant spider going to concern themselves with just one little ragdoll while letting 5 others take off? He just starts stomping on them. If it was like a dude our size and Hawke was holding him down, I can buy it, but it's a giant frickin' spider. This isn't Gandalf on a tiny bridge stopping a Balrog from advancing on your party that's already escaped. This isn't Shepard on Vermeer having to choose between 2 physical locations. This is a giant creature with multiple eyes and legs who is telepathic and blocking our path. It has the size, power, and intel advantage. Oh, one idiot wants to sacrifice himself. Well, I guess I won't let him do that and simply stop everyone by swinging my gigantic spider legs. Anyway, the whole Warden's cause this nonsense is brought up, like we're supposed to care about past conflicts that no longer exist at this specific moment.
I'll cover you. No, you were right. The Grey Wardens caused this. A Warden must
help them rebuild. That's your job. Corypheus is mine.
Okay, so if Corypheus is your problem to deal with, Hawke, why would you end your life stopping one of his weird demon henchmen, possibly getting yourself killed in the process, and not, try and get around him so you can actually stop Corypheus? I mean, shouldn't we all just fight this guy if we really want to stop him? We're both mages here. Can't we cast some spells so we can escape if we have to? I mean, what are you going to do to distract this thing? So time doesn't stop, yet zooms in on our completely unemotional face waiting for player input. It's like the Mass Effect 3 trench run. You just stand around and nothing happens. Hey, Harvey, how's it going? And of course, we have to choose who gets to die. Despite Hawke being all serious and Stroud being all wanting to fall on his sword, apparently they'll just wait for us. So let's say we choose Stroud. Well, he hacks a bit, the mandibles, what is that? Oh look, we're free. Huh? And if we chose Mage Hawke, he swings his staff like a sword and causes the demon to bleed? Yeah, that's pretty cool for a object. I mean, I didn't know staves could do that. Wait, what is happening? I'm sorry, this might be the Fade, but that's stupid. So one of those dingbats start hacking away, and the demon, he actually doesn't care. He's just coming after us. It's like, whatever. And then we just fade to black. What? This really dramatic moment is nope. You don't get to see it. I mean, did that make any sense? That was really bad. That was a really bad scene. We didn't get any payoff for that. The story has to give us a reason why one of these guys had to die. Aside from Hawke being a completely useless character throughout the entire franchise. Oh. Magical dreamland, all your wishes come true.
Then all of a sudden, like a giant fucking spider shows up.